you wear clothes? I hope so, because Framed Out has 3 amazing shirts available with prices starting at $24.99. Every order over $40 gets free shipping. Look at these amazing graphics. Got multiple colors available. It's amazing.
You're here to learn how to make an exhaust for any sort of vehicle in Blender. The example that I will be showing is what you would typically find under a car. Very simple, yet extremely effective. I am in a new project, and to start us off, I will be deleting everything so that we can have a blank canvas. Next, I will click Shift A and add a Bezier curve. And I will tab into edit mode. And I will select this left side of the curve and rotate it -45 degrees so that we now have a straight line. And now while I am also in edit mode, I will be selecting each of these points and shrinking them down to, let's just say 0.2. That should be sufficient. Shrink this side down to 0.2 as well. So now we have a line. To make this look less like a line and more like an exhaust, we'll need to go to the Object Data Properties, click that, click Geometry, go to Bevel, and select Depth. So the depth I'm going to be choosing is a 0.03. I think that looks okay. Perhaps I'll bump it up one more to 0.04. And I'll be putting the resolution at 10. It's mostly detailed. It will suffice for the video. So the next thing on the list of things to do is to stay in object mode, Shift A, go to Mesh, and add a cylinder. Shrink this cylinder down like so. Rotate it 90 degrees along the y-axis. And I'm going to shrink mine down even more. And then extend it ever so slightly. So this will function as a catalytic converter, or at least mostly look like one. Next, I'll go to Object and Shade Auto Smooth. This will allow us to have a smooth yet sharp object. Looks great. Next, we'll be working on the rear half of the exhaust, the muffler side. So what I will be doing is selecting the Z preset viewpoint, clicking E to extrude, pushing this out along the y-axis, and then along the x-axis to get a shape like so. Then I will be lifting it up along the z-axis, E to extrude, move it along the x-axis, E to extrude again, down on the z-axis, pushed out a little more along the x-axis, and then I will continue to extend it out like so along the x-axis. From here, I will shift right click and move our cursor to spawn in another cylinder, and in this case this will be our muffler. So again, I'll be rotating it 90 degrees on the y-axis, shrinking it down ever so slightly to where we can get more of a muffler-like shape. That's the goal in mind. So you'll be looking to get a shape similar to this. Make whatever shape you need to. After you have it sized accordingly, go to Object, Shade Auto Smooth again. You'll have a very pretty looking design like so. Next, I will be making an exhaust tip for the muffler, so I will be moving the curve just ever so slightly back. I will click Shift D to duplicate, and then E to extrude. So now I will be selecting this newly duplicated and extruded curve, right click, click Separate, and separate again. Now that it is separated, this curve is its own object. So I will make this depth slightly bigger, to emulate that of a fart can. And I'll push it back ever so slightly into this muffler so it looks a little bit prettier. And then I will move this point back too. And shrink it down a little bit, like so. Now we got a good little fart can going on here. We will take this newly created fart can, go to Object, Convert, and convert it to a mesh. From here we'll toggle into X-ray mode, click the Y-axis viewpoint preset, and select these vertices right at the very end. E to extrude, push it out ever so slightly, shrink it down, E to extrude, push it out, shrink it, E to extrude, shrink it, E to extrude again, shrink it, push it in, E to extrude again, and push that all the way in to the very end. And now, there is a nicely rounded edge on here. From here, I will go ahead and shade it auto smooth. And we have a very eloquent looking exhaust tip to work with. The muffler side is done. Now we will be working on the header side of the exhaust. From here, we'll select this point on the curve, shrink it down a little bit, E to extrude, push it out, rotate it 90 degrees along the Y-axis, push it up, over like so, to get a curve that is mostly smooth. E to extrude again and push up and over just ever so slightly along the X-axis, and E to extrude again, rotate along the Y-axis about 60 degrees, push it over along the X, E again to extrude, push it over and up, rotate it down about 30 degrees, like so. From here I will click Shift A, add a circle, tab into edit mode. I will select one half of it and delete it. Then I will select the other half, press F to fill it, and then I will go into the modifiers section and add a mirror modifier along the Y-axis. Then I will go ahead and rotate it 90 degrees along the Y-axis and shrink it down ever so slightly and push it up together to connect it. Let's see what we're working with. That should be sufficient. Like so. Push it down a little bit. Shrink it again. And perfect. So once you get your circle shrinked down like so, however you need it to look, in whichever shape you may need it to be in, click the X-axis preset viewpoint and go ahead and trace out a design that you think would look sufficient for your headers to bolt up to your engine head with. So I'm gonna make a shape like so. Nothing too crazy, nothing too complex, something rather simple. And what I will go ahead and do, select all these other points and delete them. From here you can adjust yours however you may need it to be so that you have a very beautiful looking design. In my instance, I'm going to push these 3 vertices over just a smidge and this one vertice up ever so slightly. Next, press E to extrude and extrude this out like so. Then I will go to Object and Shade Auto Smooth. So with this very design here, you can create a lot off of it. For example, if you want to make an exhaust for a 4-cylinder engine, or an inline 4 that is, all you'd have to do is just duplicate everything above the downpipe, move it over, you know, add in and tack in all the geometry accordingly, and then just expand this header flange and make it as wide as you need it to be, and you know, still look functional depending on what you're going for. And boom, you can make essentially anything with this idea here. If you enjoyed the video, feel free to like and subscribe. If you have any questions, slam them down in the comments. Thank you so much for watching. Have a great day. Bye.